I'll literally see people be like, yeah, I budgeted 1,000 calories for this meal, so I'm just gonna slam 2 cheesy gordita crunches. Like that, like this is not gonna work. I was a chunky kid growing up. Between the ages of 8 and 14, I varied between various levels of fluffiness, and at my peak, I was around 9 pounds away from being considered obese on the BMI scale. And I know BMI scale isn't exactly the standard here, like the gold standard, because it doesn't differentiate between fat and muscle, but trust me, it was all fat. But that realization rocked my world. Like, I had always been on the chunkier side, but being obese was something that I had never considered before. This was kind of my wake-up call to really start taking my diet and exercise seriously. And amidst my weight loss journey, there was one piece of advice that was parroted to me by so many people and so many times that I eventually started to hold it up as like an axiom of life. It's something that you've no doubt heard before: calories in, calories out. This principle of energy expenditure has dominated our approach to dieting and weight loss for over a century now. And while it provides a superb foundation for understanding the role of energy consumption and expenditure on weight loss, I couldn't shake the feeling that there was more to this equation. If losing weight was as simple as eating less and expending more energy, why is obesity such a global health epidemic? The truth is, while diet and exercise play a tremendous role in maintaining weight, there are other, often overlooked processes that are just as paramount. And that leads us to today's topic, our gut microbiome and its effect on our metabolism. If you enjoy this video, go ahead and leave it a like as it supports the channel. And without further ado, let's get into it. Meet the unassuming garden warbler. At first glance, they might seem like your average bird with nothing in particular to write home about. They're rather ordinary looking birds, lacking any particularly standout features, and are notoriously hard to classify due to their normalness. However, there's much more than meets the eye with these birds due to a metabolic quirk they possess. Like many of their avian counterparts, garden warblers embark on an epic journey spanning thousands of miles from Europe to Africa in order to flee the icy grip of winter. But here's where it gets interesting. In order to prepare for this grueling migration, these seemingly unremarkable birds go through a massive transformation. To prepare for this arduous journey, warblers will gorge on berries and insects until they more than double their weight from a modest 17 to a hefty 37 grams, effectively becoming morbidly obese. During a warbler's binge fest, they'll gain roughly 10% of their original body weight every day. For reference, this would be like a typical adult male gaining 17 to 20 pounds a day. Absolutely outrageous. After packing on the weight, they will embark on the bird equivalent of a triathlon with only a few pit stops for meals. During the journey, warblers will gradually burn their fat stores until by the time of arrival at their destination, they will return to their lean, normal weight. Sounds pretty self-explanatory. Warblers consume a massive amount of calories to prepare for the massive energy expenditure that is migration. A lot of animals do this, so what? But here's where the plot thickens, because this exact same process happens to warblers even in captivity. Captive warblers will gorge in preparation for a journey they will never make, building up their fat stores and doubling their body weight. Additionally, at the exact same time when their free brethren would be arriving in Africa, the captive warblers will also rapidly lose weight, despite not flying 4,000 miles and having unlimited access to food. This phenomenon flies as a blatant contradiction to the principle of calories in, calories out. These enormous shifts in weight far exceed what could be expected from just changes in caloric intake and energy expenditure. All of this suggests that something else is at play here, some metabolic process beyond the principle of just counting calories. And while the exact principle of weight regulation in warblers is unknown, evidence suggests that the answer might not just be one thing, but trillions of them. So before we introduce the main attraction, let's quickly set the stage. Our digestive system serves as a gateway for transforming the food we consume into nutrients our bodies can utilize. At the forefront of this process is the small intestine, where digestion and nutrient absorption takes center stage. Here, our bodies diligently extract all the essential nutrients, ushering them into the bloodstream for distribution to our cells. Whatever remains, however, heads towards the large intestine, the bustling hub where our protagonists, the gut microbiome, take the spotlight. Our microbiome is comprised of trillions of diverse bacteria, fungi, and viruses that play pivotal roles in our well-being. Among the myriad of functions are the breakdown of indigestible foods, the synthesis of vital nutrients, and the regulation of our metabolism. When you hear experts talk about good bacteria, this is what they're talking about. It's also in these foundational processes that we discover the pivotal role of the gut microbiome in maintaining our weight and meeting our diet goals. So let's delve into the first of one of two concepts that I'm going to introduce in this video. That being that calories in is more than just what you eat, it's what you absorb. And what's the difference, you might ask? The answer lies in our microbiome. As mentioned earlier, our gut microbiota break down indigestible foods, generating nutrients that are subsequently converted into energy for the body. This implies that certain bacteria cause us to absorb additional calories from our meals. In essence, individuals vary in their calorie absorption due to differences in their gut microbiota. This concept is really intuitive if we consider a vegetarian whose diet only consists of fruits, grains, and vegetables. The absence of meat in their diet leads to the decline of microbes specialized in breaking down animal protein. This is just natural selection. Consequently, a vegetarian would extract fewer calories from eating a steak compared to a carnivore, as they would lack the necessary bacteria to fully digest it. Similarly, individuals' diets rich in saturated fats and simple carbohydrates face a greater impact from indulging in unhealthy treats, as their gut microbiota are primed to extract more energy from such foods. In this sense, it's kind of like our justice system, where repeat offenders get more severe punishments for the same crimes. However, it doesn't end there. Two bacterial classes in particular, Firmicutes and Bacteroidetes, have emerged as central players in energy regulation. The balance between these microbes is directly linked to obesity. This insight, initially observed in rats, gained further support from Rainer Jumpertz's study at the University of Phoenix. Jumpertz's research involved 12 lean participants placed on fixed calorie diets, with their stool's calorie content measured post-digestion. Participants on high-calorie diets exhibited an increase in Firmicutes abundance relative to Bacteroidetes. This shift correlated with reduced energy loss in stool, translating to an extra 150 calories absorbed daily on average. A seemingly insignificant amount that, if you watch this channel, would know adds up over time. And this is precisely why counting calories can feel like walking through a minefield, because not only do you need to stick to a fixed, strict diet, but you could also just unintentionally be overeating. While nutrition labels offer a rough estimate, the actual calorie absorption by your body is unique to you. All it takes is a 50 to 100 calorie miscalculation to derail your weight loss efforts, turning potential progress into unexpected weight gain. So now that we've explored the input side of the digestive equation, let's shift our focus to the output side. The second key insight that I'm going to propose here is that calories out is not just what our body exerts, what energy our body exerts, but what our body does with that energy. Within our approximately 20,000 genes lie the instructions that shape our individual traits. Our bodies regulate gene expression and their outcomes through a complex interplay of chemical messengers. However, it's not solely up to our bodies. Our microbial companions also have a say in influencing certain genes. Specifically, our microbes can either enhance or suppress genes that promote the storage of energy in fat cells. In individuals with obesity, this microbial influence exacerbates the storage of energy as fat, a genetic strategy that may have been advantageous in times of scarcity, but has backfired on modern waistlines. So given that some individuals possess bodies that are more predisposed to storing extra fat, a new question arises. Why don't they experience satiety despite ample energy absorption and fat reserves? Why do they keep eating if they have plenty of energy stores? The answer lies in a hormone that I've briefly touched upon before, but deserves a more in-depth explanation here. Leptin, often dubbed the satiety hormone, communicates a sense of fullness and satisfaction to the brain. The greater the presence of leptin, the more pronounced the feeling of satiety, resulting in diminished food cravings. We owe the discovery of leptin to a group of mutant mice known as OBOB mice. The OB stands for obese. These little chunks were incapable of producing leptin, leaving them in a perpetual state of hunger. Without the chemical signal to signify fullness, they incessantly consumed food, eventually swelling to 3 times the size of a typical mouse. Initially, it was hypothesized that low leptin levels might underlie obesity in humans, as it does with rats. However, attempts to address this by administering large amounts of leptins to human volunteers yielded minimal success. The revelation came swiftly thereafter. Obese individuals aren't lacking in leptin. In fact, they often have elevated levels as leptin is produced by fat cells. Rather, their brains have developed resistance to leptin signals. This resistance manifests itself as a persistent lack of satiety during meals, despite ample energy reserves stored in the body. So what's the solution? Now that I've bombarded you with all these unnerving facts, am I just gonna dip? No, I think the two greatest takeaways from this video are, number one, it's not just the calorie count that matters. The quality of the foods you eat in your diet are just as important. The composition of your gut microbiota also plays a crucial role in how your body processes food. An imbalanced gut microbiota can result in increased weight gain from the same foods. Thus, the only way to ensure a stable gut microbiota is by eating foods rich in fiber, such as fruits and vegetables. I see a lot of people completely ignoring the quality of nutrient density of their food and just focusing on the calories, and I think this is a huge problem in today's dieting. I'll literally see people be like, yeah, I budgeted 1,000 calories for this meal, so I'm just gonna slam 2 cheesy gordita crunches and call it a day. Like that, like this is not gonna work. And number two is that weight loss becomes exponentially easier the slimmer you get. This is more of an observation than an actionable item, but I think it's really important to remember regardless. Just know that at the start of your journey, there will likely be both genetic and hormonal obstacles slowing your progress. Just know that it will get easier. The first step is always the hardest. Just have faith and trust the process. And that's all I have for you guys today. If you enjoyed, go ahead and like the video, and if you want to see more, you should totally subscribe. But until next time, guys, see you later.